Wow, thank you, Diane. Thank you so much. That's an amazing introduction. They say don't follow animals or children, and I don't know how I'm going to follow Christine and Hilary because they were pretty awesome. I'm really happy to be here, and thank you for all of you who have made your time to be here today. I really appreciate it. So, but before we begin, I just want you to do something with me, and I just want you to put one hand on your heart and take a deep breath in and breathe out. And as you breathe out, I want you to hear these words. Nothing that you have walked through has been wasted. Not one moment, not one mistake, not one tear. Nothing at all. You you didn't just survive what happened to you. You were shaped by it. You were forged by it. You were strengthened by it, and you were prepared by it. And so today it's not about who you used to be. Today is about the woman you're becoming, the woman that God always saw in you, even when you didn't. So, as Diane said, my name is Dawne Austin, and for over 15 years, I have led and journeyed with women around the world. But more importantly, I'm someone that's lived through a fair amount of storms myself. And I'm here to tell you with confidence that God wastes nothing. Nothing is ever wasted. So I think that as women, we carry stories. Some of these stories are spoken, some of them we share, some are hidden, but they're all significant. And for years, many of us have prayed, for things to happen, for breakthrough, and while remaining paralyzed, while we've stood still, because sometimes we get stuck and we get paralyzed by fear. We're paralyzed by perfection. We think that things need to be perfect before we can say that they're done, that they need to be completed and they need to be absolutely perfect. And we're also paralyzed by pressure, paralyzed by the belief that we must be confident before we begin. But the truth is this: faith is not waiting to feel ready. Faith creates readiness. And I'm a firm believer that done is better than perfect, because God doesn't multiply what we wish for while we're standing still. He multiplies what when you move forward. And so today I just want to talk through these three things: why nothing that you've lived through is wasted, why the not yet isn't punishment but it's preparation, and why one small step can make you unstoppable. So many years ago, I went on my first mission journey to Southern Africa. I was excited, I was confident, and I was ready to help with my skills, which were admin and practical things, doing the logistics and something neat, something safe, and something I could control. But the moment I stepped off the plane, something was different. And I knew that there was the potential that everything in my life would change. The air, it was thick with heat. It was so hot, beyond anything that I'd experienced in the UK. But it carried the smell of dust and fire. And my host took myself and my teenage daughter into a cafe at the airport, and she explained everything that they'd been doing. And I was so impressed with what they'd been doing, how they were reaching unreached people groups, and what the plans were for the next few days and the days while I was going to be there with them. I was so excited, and I think I woke up as one of the earliest people because I was ready and pumped to go the next day into the truck. But as we drove deeper and deeper into the countryside, the truck rattled like it remembered 1,000 journeys. It was so old, and it was full with people, women with babies on their backs, and older people, and many, many men, some young and some old, and the red sand that had just coated our hair and our bags as we wound up and around. And I remember thinking, there's surely nothing else, even air, that can get into this truck. But somehow we managed to pick up people and more livestock along the way. And I was also thinking, Lord, how can I help these people? What can I possibly offer? And then hours later, when we stopped in a rural clearing, children ran from every direction, and women sat beneath trees, and their skirts and the brightness of the patterns just flowed in the wind. It was an amazing first sighting of what Africa looked like, and the people that I had gone to help. And when we stopped, everyone jumped out of the truck efficiently, going about doing what they knew to do. And then the truck was empty. It seemed like seconds, and it was empty. And I just stood there looking into the truck. And then I turned around, and there stood a line of 250 people deep in front of me. The line stretched so far, it was blending with the horizon. And my knees started shaking, and my stomach suddenly developed this ache. And then fear didn't whisper, it roared. You're not ready. You're not qualified. You're just a girl from a small South American village. And then the pastor came to me, and she placed her hand on my shoulder, and she said, come on, Dawne, as if she'd seen something in me that I'd never dared to believe. And that's when the Lord whispered in my spirit, you have been preparing for this for years. Every late night prayer, every disappointment, every silent tear, and every moment that you thought I wasn't listening. All of it built you for this. On that dusty field, praying for 250 people, that was the moment that I realised that nothing is wasted. Not the pain, not the failures, not the heartbreak. All of it becomes seed for purpose. And then there's the not yet. We all carry prayers that haven't been answered yet, that dreams that haven't unfolded yet, and healing that we haven't seen arrive yet. Breakthrough that feels so close but doesn't seem to be happening yet. And then the enemy whispers, you failed. You've missed your chance. Nothing in your life is changing. But God's voice is much stronger, much more powerful, because he says, I'm working in the not yet. And the not yet is not punishment. It is preparation. It is where your character is formed and where wisdom grows. It's where resilience is built and where your faith allows its roots to deepen so that you can hold the weight of what's coming. The not yet is where God prepares you for the yes. I felt that I couldn't do what I was being asked to do, but I had my best yes. and a preparation that had stemmed years, because when I was praying in the dark, that trained me for the prayers that those people needed. When I was crying in secret, it gave me the compassion that I could transfer. And when I heard God respond to me, I knew that if he was real for me, he was real for them. And it's even the messy things and the things that we wish had never happened that we're being prepared. After 17 years of marriage, I found myself in a moment that I had never expected. I was standing in my kitchen and I realised that I was alone and that I had 3 children depending on me and a mortgage bigger than a mountain that I had to climb. And I didn't ask to climb it. I didn't ask to be in that situation. I didn't ask for the floor to fall out on me or for the doors that felt that they were closed. And the silence of being alone after so many years was deafening. But then I heard a child call me from upstairs, "Mum," and I knew in that moment that I didn't have time to fall apart. Every day I took my children to school and then I travelled to work on the underground and I cried to and from work. I didn't cry at work. I didn't cry when my children were around. But I had time during my travel. Strangers offered me tissues regularly. And I just had to grieve. But at night, when everyone was asleep, I would sit on the edge of my bed and I would ask God, "Lord, what am I supposed to do now? I have bills piled high. My confidence has hit an all-time low. The nights are long and the house feels too big. And my faith feels small." But I knew that he was working behind the scenes because I woke up every morning and it felt that angels were dressing me. And it felt like they were driving the car and they were navigating the routes that I had to take and the conversations that I had to have. After time, the organizational skills that I used to run my house turned into leadership. And the way that I fought for my kids at school, going to the lone parents' evening, when the hall is filled with 2-parent families, and there you are, fighting for your kids and not feeling your shame. And that turned into advocacy for women. And the tears that I cried into my pillow, it turned into compassion that overflowed into my ministry, even today. I felt like I didn't just make lemonade with the lemons that I was given, but I bought the stalls and the corner shop as well, because I learnt this. God is a master recycler and he rebuilds, he repurposes, he resurrects, and absolutely nothing at all is wasted. I'm not making it up. I'm making it count. Was born through this period. I had to learn resilience and gain strength and courage and have many first times. I don't know about you, but how many first times have you had in your life? You know, but we go through those first times and then they're never again the first time, because we learn how to navigate them and how to make them work in our lives and how to help others know how to do that quicker and easier and save time. Yeah. Movement is the key to breakthrough. For years, I prayed for breakthrough, but the being paralyzed, like I mentioned earlier, by fear or by perfection or by pressure or by the belief that confidence came first, wasn't true. We have to move. We have to make a decision that we're going to move forward, because movement breaks fear and movement creates the miracle. And movement is one step. You just have to make a decision to take one step, not 10, not 20, not 50, just one. Because a single step will shift your direction, and being consistent will then build momentum, and then momentum will make you unstoppable. Because what we're doing today and every day in our life is becoming unstoppable. There were so many things that happened to us that we thought we couldn't do, but here we are, because we're becoming unstoppable. And if we keep on moving, we're going to get there. We're going to be where we're placed all of the time. God can steer a moving vessel, but he can't steer a parked one. He can multiply your steps, but he can't multiply what you're doing if you're staying still. There has to be movement. And you don't need to be ready. You just need to be willing. And if you're afraid, do it anyway. Do it afraid, but do it. Move. And it's that journey and that realization and those things that I've learned through the way that the Lord has guided me and instilled me. I've got strength, I've got resilience, but I needed to understand how to be guided as well, because you need to know what the first step is. It isn't just about stepping out. It's not about blindly moving. It's about understanding the season that you're in and understanding the direction that you need to go to, and what is the first step. And that's probably the reason why we stay still, because we don't understand what is the first step. And this is why Unstoppable Pathway exists, because you were never meant to rise alone. You were never meant to walk alone, and there's community that's important. People around you, whether they're family or they're friends, people who will hold up your hands and walk the journey with you, people who will tell you the truth, and who will help to pull you along when you can't get up and you need that kind of support. So inside Unstoppable Pathway, we walk together to enable you to rediscover your identity and to break old patterns, to rise with confidence, to strengthen your faith and to rebuild your mindset as you step boldly into your purpose, as you regain the tools that you need to walk forward. You don't need giant leaps. You don't need great big movements. And you don't need billboards or advertisements to say, I'm going to do this or I'm doing that. You make a decision, and you can make a quiet decision with yourself and just walk that out. And just one step, one yes, and one act of courage will change the design of your life and the way that you're going right now. So I'm coming to the end, but before I end, I want you to put your hand on your heart again one more time, because I want you to leave here knowing this: your beginnings are not your boundary, your limits are not your destiny, and your past is not your identity. Everything that we're going through in life is a climbing frame. Something that we can get over, that we can get through, that we can get under, that we can get over. Something that we can break down, that we can kick out, and we can root out. Because nothing that you've lived is wasted. Excuse me. Sorry, Hilary. Nothing that you've lived is wasted. Not the tears, not the battles, not the waiting. Even if you've been waiting because you felt stuck, there's still something that you've been learning in the journeys. And not even the chapters that you wish you could erase. Sometimes we have altercations with people. We say the wrong things. Sometimes people go out of our lives and they slam the door on their way out because we've said or we've done the wrong thing. But not even those chapters, because we learn from them. And hopefully we can redo our mistakes and try to unravel the ways that we've gone wrong. God has used every single part of your story to build the woman that you are, that is wherever you are right now. And I want to tell you that that woman is rising, she's healing, and she's stepping forward because she's becoming unstoppable. And for the first 3 women who contact me at arise2purpose@gmail.com, that's arise and the number 2 purpose@gmail.com, will receive a 30-minute strategy call with me where we will discuss your needs so that we can walk out your first steps together. If you don't know what that is, by the end of the 3rd session, you definitely will, and you'll be on a new walk in your destiny, restoring your purpose. So let's rise together. Let's heal together. And let's move forward together as you ascend into your power. Because you, that's right, you are becoming unstoppable. Thank you.